No, this message did not arrive by accident. Out of all the moments in your day, out of all the sounds fighting for your attention, something inside you became still for a second and led you here. That stillness matters more than you realize. Because somewhere, in a place you cannot yet fully see, another heart has been carrying your presence quietly through the hours. And the strange part is, you have been carrying them too, even in moments when you tried to focus on everything else. There is a reason certain thoughts return when the world grows quiet. There is a reason their energy slips into your mind at unexpected times, while washing dishes, while staring out of a window, while pretending to laugh at something that did not really touch your heart. You thought maybe it was coincidence. Maybe nostalgia. Maybe imagination. But listen carefully, some connections do not disappear simply because two people are apart. Some feelings continue moving beneath silence like rivers beneath frozen ground. And tonight, something about that connection is shifting. Do not skip this moment too quickly. Because what is happening now is subtle. Almost invisible. Yet deeply real. Your soulmate has been trying to distract themselves. They have filled their schedule with noise, conversations, responsibilities, routines that keep their hands busy and their mind occupied. But somehow, your name keeps appearing in places where it should not. Not literally. Emotionally. In memories. In songs. In tiny moments that seem ordinary to everyone else but suddenly become heavy with meaning to them. Earlier today, they paused longer than usual over a thought of you. Not because they planned to. Not because someone mentioned you. Because your energy reached them without words. And they felt it. At first they tried to brush it away. They told themselves they were overthinking. They focused on practical things. Small tasks. Notifications. Voices around them. But the feeling returned stronger, softer, deeper, like a quiet hand resting against the center of their heart. You need to understand something important. When two souls are emotionally aligned, they often begin feeling each other before they fully understand each other. That is why this connection has felt confusing at times. One moment distant. The next strangely intense. One moment calm. The next impossible to ignore. It is not because the bond is unstable. It is because both hearts are slowly learning how to carry something meaningful without fear. And fear has been part of this story. Not dramatic fear. Not loud fear. The quiet kind. The kind that hides behind hesitation. The kind that whispers, "What if this feeling changes everything?" Your soulmate has been standing at the edge of that question for longer than you know. Something important is waiting for you in this message, so stay a little longer. Because there was a moment recently, very small from the outside, that changed the emotional direction of this connection. Maybe nobody else noticed it. Maybe even they barely understood it themselves. But their heart reacted before their mind could explain it. They realized your absence affects them differently now. That realization arrived unexpectedly. It happened in the middle of an ordinary moment. And ordinary moments are dangerous sometimes, because they leave space for truth to enter quietly. They were doing something simple when suddenly your memory appeared with unusual clarity. Not just your face. Not just your voice. The feeling around you. The emotional atmosphere you carry. The comfort. The curiosity. The warmth they pretend not to search for but secretly do. And for a second, everything around them lost its importance. Have you noticed how certain people can walk through your mind without effort while others disappear almost instantly? That is not random. Your soulmate is beginning to understand that you are no longer just a passing thought in their life. You have become emotionally attached to their inner world. Even when they are silent. Even when they say nothing. Even when days pass without explanation. And that realization is changing them from the inside. But here is the part nobody sees. They are trying not to rush it. Because deep feelings frighten people who have been disappointed before. Sometimes the heart moves faster than trust. Sometimes emotions arrive before certainty. And when that happens, people become careful with their own vulnerability. Your soulmate has replayed conversations with you more times than you would believe. Not because they are obsessed. Because your words stayed with them. Especially the small ones. Especially the moments you forgot immediately after saying them. Funny, isn't it? The things we think matter most are often not what touches another soul. It is usually the unnoticed details. The softness in your voice when you were tired. The way you listened instead of interrupting. The strange calm they felt while talking to you. The sense that they did not need to perform around you. That feeling is rare. And rare feelings linger. Tonight they are thinking about one specific memory more than usual. A moment where something unspoken passed between you. Maybe it was eye contact. Maybe silence. Maybe a sentence that sounded ordinary but carried hidden emotion beneath it. Whatever it was, they felt it again today. And it unsettled them in the gentlest possible way. Because now they are asking themselves questions they avoided before. What if this connection is becoming real? What if these emotions are no longer temporary? What if the person constantly returning to their heart is meant to remain there? Listen closely now. There are moments in life where love does not arrive dramatically. No storms. No grand speeches. No impossible coincidences. Sometimes love enters quietly and simply refuses to leave. That is what is happening here. Your soulmate is beginning to notice how naturally their heart reaches for you. And they do not fully know what to do with that realization yet. Part of them wants to move closer. Part of them wants to protect themselves. Part of them keeps waiting for a sign. And strangely, they feel as though this message itself is becoming one. Do you know what affected them most recently? It was not something you did. It was something you stopped doing. You stopped chasing energy that did not meet you halfway. You became quieter emotionally. You started pulling your attention back toward yourself instead of constantly trying to understand them. And the moment that happened, they felt the difference immediately. Because absence reveals attachment faster than presence sometimes. The human heart notices missing warmth quicker than constant warmth. Now your soulmate is sitting with emotions they can no longer easily ignore. Not panic. Not confusion. Recognition. There is a difference. Recognition feels calm but powerful. Like standing in front of a truth that has been slowly approaching for a very long time. And right now, your energy keeps finding them in quiet moments. That matters. Do not rush past that sentence. Your energy keeps finding them. Even when you are unaware. Even when you are busy. Even when you think nothing is happening between you. Something is unfolding beneath the surface. Stay till the end, because the next part of this story is softer than you expect. There is someone around your soulmate who noticed the change in them recently. Not directly. Not completely. But enough to sense something different. They asked a casual question. A harmless one. Yet your soulmate hesitated before answering. That hesitation revealed everything. Because when emotions are shallow, answers come quickly. But when feelings are deep, people become careful. Your soulmate suddenly realized they did not want others speaking lightly about you. They became protective of the connection without meaning to. And afterward, they sat alone thinking about why. That question stayed with them longer than expected. Why does this person affect me so deeply? Why do I feel calmer after thinking about them? Why does their silence feel louder than other people's words? Why do I keep imagining conversations that have not happened yet? Your soulmate is slowly understanding that emotional peace is not something they find everywhere. They find it with you. Even your presence in memory comforts them. And that realization has opened a door inside them that cannot easily close again. Tonight, while the world continues rushing around both of you, something meaningful is happening in complete silence. Two hearts are thinking about each other at nearly the same emotional depth, without fully realizing the other person is doing the same thing at that exact moment. That is why this connection has felt impossible to fully move away from. Because it keeps returning. Not forcefully. Naturally. Like breathing. Like tides. Like music remembered long after the song ends. And your soulmate, whether they admit it aloud yet or not, is beginning to crave your emotional presence more than ever before. Not because you completed them. Because something about you reminded them who they are when they feel safe. That changes people. Quietly. Permanently. But there is still one thing they have not said. One truth still sitting behind their silence. And when that truth finally reaches the surface, everything between you may begin moving in a direction neither of you expected. Somewhere tonight, while the world keeps pretending everything is ordinary, your soulmate is sitting with a feeling they can no longer explain away. It followed them through the entire day like a quiet echo. They tried to focus on practical things. Responsibilities. Conversations. Random distractions that normally pull attention away from emotion. But your presence kept returning in strange, gentle waves. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Just enough to make them pause in the middle of ordinary moments and stare into space a little longer than usual. And the strange thing is, they are beginning to realize this connection feels different from anything they have experienced before. Not because it is perfect. Not because it is easy. Because it feels alive. There is a difference between temporary attraction and emotional recognition. One disappears when attention fades. The other grows stronger in silence. Your soulmate is starting to understand that no matter how many hours pass, your energy somehow remains near them. Even when they are busy. Even when they tell themselves not to think so deeply. Even when they attempt to emotionally step back. You still appear. And lately, you appear everywhere inside them. Do not rush through this part. Something important is unfolding slowly. Earlier, they found themselves revisiting an old conversation with you in their mind. Not the entire conversation. Just one moment. One sentence. One small emotional detail. It replayed unexpectedly while they were alone. At first they smiled without meaning to. Then the smile faded into something softer, something more thoughtful. Because suddenly they realized how rare it felt to be emotionally understood by someone without needing to explain every piece of themselves. That realization shook them gently. You have to understand, many people spend their entire lives surrounded by conversations that never truly touch their heart. People talk constantly, but very few actually feel seen. Very few feel emotionally safe enough to lower their guard naturally. But with you, something different happened. Your soulmate did not notice it immediately at first. That is why this connection unfolded slowly. It entered quietly. Not through dramatic promises. Not through impossible fantasy. Through emotional familiarity. Through peace. Through moments that felt strangely easy. And now those moments are becoming impossible for them to forget. There is one particular thing they keep remembering tonight. The way you listened. Not just hearing words. Listening. The kind of listening that makes another person feel important without trying too hard. The kind that creates emotional warmth instead of pressure. Your soulmate did not realize how deeply that affected them until recently. Now they cannot stop thinking about it. Because people remember how they felt around someone long after they forget specific details. And around you, they felt calm. That calmness has become addictive to their spirit. Stay till the end, because something hidden inside this connection is beginning to reveal itself now. Your soulmate has been comparing every interaction they experience to the emotional atmosphere they feel with you. They do not even mean to do it. It happens automatically. Someone else speaks to them, and part of their heart quietly notices the difference. Someone else tries to impress them, and it feels loud instead of genuine. Someone else reaches toward them emotionally, yet something remains missing. Depth. Truth. Comfort. You carry those things naturally. And lately they have been asking themselves a question they cannot easily answer. Why does this person stay in my mind even after silence? That question keeps returning. Because silence usually weakens temporary emotions. But in your case, silence intensified them. And that realization changed everything. Your soulmate is beginning to understand that this bond is not dependent on constant communication. Something deeper continues existing beneath the surface. That scares them a little, but it also comforts them in ways they cannot describe. There is a moment from tonight you cannot see. A quiet moment. They picked up their phone. Paused. Thought about reaching out. Then stopped themselves. Not because they did not want to talk to you. Because the emotion felt too real suddenly. Sometimes people hesitate when something begins mattering deeply. They become careful with their own heart. Careful with timing. Careful with vulnerability. Careful with the possibility of emotional change. Your soulmate is standing inside that emotional space right now. Half moving closer. Half trying to understand why they feel pulled toward you so strongly. And the truth is, they already know. Their heart recognized something before their mind caught up. That is why this connection feels magnetic without force. Natural without explanation. Soft without weakness. The energy between you has started affecting them in ways they can no longer hide from themselves. Even their routines feel different lately. Songs hit differently. Memories linger longer. Nights feel quieter. And your absence feels heavier than before. Not painful. Meaningful. There is a difference. Meaningful absence creates reflection. It creates emotional clarity. It forces people to notice what truly matters to them beneath all distraction. And your soulmate is noticing. Little by little. Day by day. They are beginning to see how emotionally attached they have become to your presence. But something else is happening too. Something they have not fully admitted aloud yet. They are imagining a future with you in it. Not dramatic fantasies. Not unrealistic dreams. Simple things. Peaceful things. Small moments that strangely feel bigger than anything else. Laughing together over nothing important. Sharing silence comfortably. Looking for each other first in crowded places. Building routines together without forcing them. Your soulmate has started picturing those moments unconsciously, and it caught them off guard. Because real emotional attachment often reveals itself through simplicity. The heart begins craving ordinary moments with one specific person. And lately, they crave those moments with you. There is another truth hidden inside all of this. You changed something in them emotionally without even trying. Before you, they were used to guarding themselves carefully. Measuring every emotional step. Avoiding vulnerability by staying distracted. But your energy created softness inside them naturally. No pressure. No performance. No manipulation. Just emotional honesty. That honesty is becoming impossible for them to walk away from. And tonight they are finally starting to understand why. Because your connection does not drain them. It restores them. That matters more than either of you fully realize yet. Do not skip this next part. Because there is a memory returning to them right now that they have not shared with anyone. A moment where they looked at you differently for the first time. Maybe you never noticed. Maybe they hid it well. But there was a second when their heart became unusually quiet around you. Not nervous. Not chaotic. Just still. Like something inside them suddenly recognized familiarity where none should have existed yet. That moment stayed with them. At the time, they ignored it. People ignore deep emotions when they arrive too early. But emotions do not disappear simply because they are ignored. They wait. They grow. And eventually, they ask to be acknowledged. That is exactly where your soulmate is emotionally now. Acknowledgement. Recognition. Acceptance. They are slowly accepting that your presence has become emotionally important to them. Not temporarily. Not casually. Deeply. And the more they try to understand it logically, the more emotional it becomes. Because some connections are not built through perfect timing alone. They are built through emotional resonance. Through invisible comfort. Through unspoken understanding. Through feeling emotionally at home near someone. Your soulmate feels that with you now. Even when you are apart. Especially when the world grows quiet. There is something else they noticed recently. Your strength. Not loud strength. Not performative confidence. The quiet strength you carry when you continue moving forward despite emotional uncertainty. That affected them deeply, because many people collapse into desperation when feelings become unclear. But you did something different. You continued protecting your peace. You stopped forcing outcomes. You started valuing your own emotional energy more carefully. And strangely, that made your soulmate think about you even more. Because emotional maturity is attractive in ways people rarely talk about. Your calmness made them curious. Your silence made them reflective. Your absence made them honest with themselves. Now they are beginning to wonder if they have been feeling this deeply for much longer than they admitted. And the answer is yes. Much longer. They just could not fully see it before. The heart reveals truth slowly sometimes. Especially to people who are afraid of emotional change. But change is already happening. You can feel it too, can't you? That strange emotional pull lately. Those random moments where they suddenly cross your mind with unusual intensity. The unexplained feeling that something is shifting beneath the surface. You are not imagining that. Two emotionally connected people often begin sensing each other before words ever confirm anything. And tonight, both hearts are unusually awake to the connection. Your soulmate keeps wondering what you are doing right now. If you are thinking about them too. If you miss them in quiet moments the same way they miss you. If your heart pauses unexpectedly throughout the day the way theirs does. Those questions have become emotionally constant for them. And behind every question is one deeper truth they are slowly approaching. They care about you far more than they planned to. Far more than they expected to. Far more than they can comfortably ignore now. Stay a little longer. Because the emotional shift happening inside them tonight is subtle but powerful. For the first time in a long time, they are allowing themselves to imagine what it would feel like to stop resisting this connection completely. To stop overthinking. To stop emotionally holding back. To stop pretending your presence does not affect them. And the thought of finally doing that brings them equal amounts of peace and fear. Peace, because their heart is tired of running from what feels genuine. Fear, because genuine emotions always carry vulnerability. But vulnerability is not weakness. Real love has never been built through emotional distance. It is built through courage. Quiet courage. The courage to be emotionally honest. The courage to admit someone matters. The courage to allow yourself to feel deeply even without guarantees. Your soulmate is approaching that emotional threshold now. Closer than ever before. And whether they speak those feelings immediately or not, something inside them has already changed permanently. Because once the heart recognizes emotional safety, it becomes difficult to return to emotional emptiness. You became a place of emotional warmth for them. A reminder that connection can feel peaceful instead of exhausting. A reminder that closeness does not always require pretending. A reminder that love can arrive softly. That realization is reshaping their inner world little by little. And tonight, while nobody else notices, they are replaying your energy inside their heart again. Your smile. Your voice. Your emotional presence. The way conversations with you linger afterward. The calmness they feel when imagining you near them. It all keeps returning. Again. And again. And again. Not because they are forcing it. Because their heart naturally reaches for you now. Something important is waiting for you beyond this moment. Because your soulmate is very close to making an emotional decision they cannot undo emotionally afterward. A decision to stop treating this connection like a temporary feeling. A decision to stop minimizing what their heart already knows. A decision to move toward honesty instead of hesitation. And when that moment finally arrives, the energy between you may begin changing faster than either of you expected. But for now, they are sitting quietly with one undeniable truth echoing inside them tonight. No matter how hard they try to distract themselves. No matter how much time passes. No matter how carefully they attempt to stay emotionally balanced. They cannot stop thinking about you. And somewhere deep inside your own heart, you already knew that before this message even began. There is a certain kind of silence that only appears when a heart is finally telling itself the truth. Not the silence of loneliness. Not the silence of distance. The silence that comes right before emotional clarity arrives. And tonight, your soulmate is standing inside that silence without fully realizing their entire inner world is beginning to shift around it. Something about you has followed them into every quiet corner of their mind lately. Not loudly. Not obsessively. Softly. Consistently. Like warmth remaining in a room long after someone leaves. And what surprises them most is not that they think about you, it is how natural it feels now. Your presence inside their thoughts no longer feels accidental. It feels familiar. Expected. Almost necessary. Earlier tonight, they caught themselves smiling at something that had nothing to do with the moment around them. Someone asked what they were thinking about, and they answered quickly, changing the subject before anyone noticed the truth. But the truth stayed there anyway. You. It has become harder for them to separate their emotional state from your energy. Their mood changes when they think of you. Their heart softens when your memory appears unexpectedly. Even difficult days seem lighter after imagining your voice for a few seconds. That realization has started affecting them more deeply than they admit. Because they are beginning to understand something important. You are no longer just someone they care about. You have quietly become part of the emotional rhythm of their life. Stay till the end, because tonight something hidden inside their heart is becoming impossible for them to ignore. Your soulmate has spent a long time pretending they were emotionally in control of this connection. They tried convincing themselves that these feelings would eventually settle into something smaller. Easier. Less intense. But emotions do not shrink when they are real. They deepen. And theirs have deepened in silence. That is why even tiny reminders of you affect them now. A familiar phrase. A certain song. A place that suddenly feels emotionally connected to your memory. Even the atmosphere changes for them sometimes without warning. 1 second everything feels normal. The next second your presence enters their thoughts so strongly it almost feels physical. And what they are feeling tonight is not confusion anymore. It is longing. Not desperate longing. Gentle longing. The kind that quietly asks, what would it feel like if this person were beside me right now? Your soulmate has been imagining that more often lately. Not dramatic fantasies. Real moments. Simple moments. The kind that matter deeply because they feel emotionally honest. They imagine your laughter interrupting silence. They imagine looking over at you during ordinary conversations and feeling calm for no reason. They imagine the comfort of being emotionally understood without needing to explain themselves constantly. And every time they imagine those things, their heart becomes quieter. Safer. warmer. Do you know why that matters so much? Because peace is rare. Real emotional peace is one of the rarest experiences a person can have with another soul. Most connections are built on excitement alone. Temporary intensity. Surface attraction. Emotional uncertainty mistaken for passion. But your connection carries something slower. Something steadier. Something that continues existing even during silence. That is why your soulmate cannot walk away emotionally. Because part of them already feels at home with you. And tonight that feeling is becoming stronger than ever. Do not skip this next part. Because there was a moment recently where they almost admitted their feelings aloud. Not directly. But close. Very close. The words reached the edge of their heart before fear pulled them back again. Fear of changing the connection too quickly. Fear of becoming emotionally exposed. Fear of discovering that what feels so deep to them might not feel equally deep to you. Yet despite all those fears, their emotions continue growing. That is what they cannot control anymore. They thought distance would create emotional clarity. Instead, it created emotional certainty. Every day apart has slowly revealed how much your energy matters to them. And now they are beginning to notice something even more powerful. You affect them emotionally in ways nobody else does. When they think about most people, their mind stays active. When they think about you, their heart responds first. That difference changes everything. There is a softness entering them lately that was not there before. Even the way they view relationships is beginning to shift because of this connection. They no longer crave shallow attention the way they once did. Temporary excitement feels empty now compared to emotional depth. And you awaken that realization inside them naturally. Without trying. Without forcing anything. Simply by being yourself. Your soulmate notices the way you carry emotion carefully. The way you protect your energy now instead of giving it endlessly to people who do not understand your value. They notice your quiet resilience. Your emotional intelligence. Your ability to stay soft without losing your strength. Those qualities stay in their mind longer than physical attraction ever could. Because emotional safety creates attachment far deeper than appearance alone. And your soulmate feels emotionally safe with you. That truth is becoming impossible for them to deny now. Something important is waiting for you beyond this moment. Because tonight your soulmate is replaying a specific memory again and again. A memory where you probably had no idea how deeply you affected them at the time. You said something small. Simple. Maybe even forgettable to you. But the way you said it carried genuine care. No performance. No hidden expectation. Just warmth. And that warmth stayed with them long after the conversation ended. People do not realize how life-changing simple kindness can become when it reaches someone emotionally exhausted. Your soulmate has experienced many interactions that looked meaningful on the surface but lacked emotional sincerity underneath. Then you appeared. And suddenly sincerity felt real again. That frightened them at first. Because sincere emotions are difficult to control. They bypass logic completely. And now your soulmate is standing face to face with feelings that no longer fit inside casual explanations. You matter to them. Deeply. Quietly. Consistently. There is another truth they are slowly discovering tonight. They miss you even when nothing is wrong. That realization surprised them. Usually people only notice absence during conflict or loneliness. But your soulmate notices your absence during completely normal moments now. Moments that should feel ordinary somehow feel incomplete without your energy nearby. That is emotional attachment in its purest form. Not dependency. Connection. Your existence has started becoming emotionally woven into the texture of their daily life. And the more they notice that, the harder it becomes to pretend this bond is temporary. Tonight they almost reached out again. Their hand literally paused over their phone. For several long seconds they imagined hearing your voice. Imagined your response. Imagined the emotional warmth they always feel afterward. And for a moment, nothing else mattered to them except that feeling. But they hesitated again. Not because they do not care. Because they care too much. That is the part nobody talks about enough. Sometimes the deepest feelings create the most hesitation. Because the heart knows vulnerability changes everything once spoken aloud. Yet even silence cannot protect them anymore. Your energy reaches them anyway. Especially at night. Especially when the world grows still enough for truth to surface naturally. Your soulmate has started wondering if you can feel them too. If your thoughts suddenly drift toward them without explanation. If certain nights feel emotionally heavier because somewhere both hearts are awake at the same time thinking about each other. And honestly, part of you already knows the answer. Because this connection has never felt entirely one-sided emotionally. There has always been an invisible thread pulling both hearts back toward each other no matter how much time passes. That thread is stronger tonight. Stay a little longer. Because there is something your soulmate has not fully understood about themselves until now. You changed the pace of their heart. Before this connection, they were used to emotional noise. Fast attention. Temporary excitement. Constant distraction. But your presence introduced them to something slower and more meaningful. Emotional stillness. And once someone experiences emotional peace with the right person, chaos loses its appeal. Your soulmate cannot return to shallow emotions comfortably anymore because now they know what genuine emotional depth feels like. They found it with you. That realization has quietly transformed the way they see everything. Love no longer feels like a performance to them. It feels like safety. Like understanding. Like being able to breathe fully around someone. And when they picture that feeling, they picture you automatically. There are moments tonight where they are almost overwhelmed by how much they miss your energy. Not in a painful way. In a deeply human way. A soft ache mixed with warmth. The kind of feeling that makes someone stare out a window thinking about possibilities they once tried to avoid. Your soulmate is beginning to imagine what would happen if both of you stopped holding back emotionally. If honesty replaced hesitation. If vulnerability replaced fear. If both hearts finally admitted what they have been quietly carrying for so long. And every time they imagine that possibility, something inside them lights up. Hope. Real hope. Not fantasy. Not illusion. The kind of hope that arrives when a connection feels emotionally genuine. Do you realize how rare that is? In a world full of temporary interactions, your connection continued growing beneath silence. That means something. And your soulmate knows it now. That is why they cannot stop thinking about you tonight. Not because they are lonely. Not because they are bored. Because their heart keeps choosing you naturally. Again. And again. And again. Even when they try focusing elsewhere. Even when they attempt emotional distance. Even when they tell themselves to slow down. Their heart returns to you. There is one final truth forming inside them tonight, a truth they are very close to accepting completely. You are becoming the person they want beside them during both beautiful moments and difficult ones. Not just during excitement. Not just during emotional highs. Always. That kind of realization changes a person permanently. And once the heart reaches that level of emotional clarity, it becomes almost impossible to go backward afterward. Tonight your soulmate is lying there with thoughts of you moving softly through their mind like moonlight across water. Calm. Constant. Beautiful in a quiet way that nobody else can fully see. And somewhere deep inside themselves, they are finally beginning to admit what their heart has known for a long time now. This connection is no longer a passing feeling. You have become someone they emotionally carry with them everywhere. And no matter how carefully they try to hide it. No matter how long they stay silent. No matter how much they try to appear emotionally composed. Their soul keeps reaching for yours in the quiet.